You found us. I'm so glad you did, but I am sorry that you had to. Who are we? I'll tell you what we're not. We're not old, we're not boring, and we're not giving up. So come on into our Widow Circle where trauma meets humor, and we remind you that you can not only survive, but thrive. This is Every Widow Thing. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening and joining us today. We are very excited to bring you the story of Danny Leslie. December 2024, Danny became a widower. He was 43 and his wife Raffi was 35. She battled cancer for 5 years. They chronicled their journey separately during this time, and after Raffi died, Danny put all of the writings together and created this amazing book, Thank You, Cancer. And it's
There's a comma there.
Thank you, Cancer.
Big deal.
Well, how did I say it? Thank you, Cancer. Thank you, Cancer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's, you know, you have
He's
to give
thanking
it a-
Cancer.
I didn't mean to stop you.
He's thanking cancer, you guys. But it's not just a story of grief. He's really trying to bring light to people that are dealing with difficult situations. And it's a testament to how God shows up for you. And in Rafi's own words, how adversity is a tool towards empowerment. And I love that. So thank you so much for being here. We're
Thank you.
excited.
It's an honor.
It's really, I mean, it's weird to say we're excited because it was a horrible, it's a horrible reason that brought you together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the book. As you can tell, I have a lot of little
You have way
notes.
more little sticky notes than
Yeah,
I do.
sticky notes, because there's just so much, there's a lot of life lessons in it. But before we get into all of that, I would love for you to share a little bit about, like, I got to know her really well through this book, but for everyone else that's listening, give us some insight.
She was something else. She challenged everything, which was interesting. In the beginning of our relationship, I was a person who would just, you tell me something was one way and I would just accept that. And she wasn't that way. She questioned everything. And that was a blessing throughout our relationship. And
Especially the cancer journey,
sure.
I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just had such a wild spirit and like a gypsy soul about her. And she was amazing. I've never known a depth of joy or a depth of love like I knew from her. Like I lived the first, 30 some years of my life and did fine, was, was successful. But then I met her and I was like, whoa, like you could live like this. And I learned so much more. And when falling in love with her, I realized what there was in life, the depth of it, and then it was just, that's it.
It was magic.
It was magic. Yeah.
While I was reading this phrase kept coming to my mind because I was in theater and improv and stuff. And one of my and one of my early teachers would use this phrase, leap and the net will appear. And I really feel like that is maybe how she lived her life before this journey. But I really felt like, well, even before the journey, you guys were taking some risks and doing some things without having it fully planned out.
We never had it.
Yeah. Can you talk about your life?
You sold everything, packed up.
Yeah. Yeah. We never had it all planned out. When we left LA, so we met in Los Angeles. I had a gym there and she was managing a barbecue restaurant. We met there and got married and had our kids. And then we decided to leave and we literally sold everything we owned, cars included, and got an RV and lived in an RV.
But you got married and then had your first daughter. It all happened like
so we got
2 years.
Well, we got married in 2014, had our first daughter 6 months later. So we were 3 months pregnant when we got married. We were engaged first though. For all of you, for all of you out there doing the math, all of you judgmental types, right? 14 got married, 15 had our first child, 16 had our next child. I'm trying to think of what happened in 17. I don't remember. 18, we left LA. 19. It was just bam, 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 bam. There was just something huge every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you said something, and this is the reason my family was in LA as well. And we decided to leave. My daughter was about to start high school.
Yeah. Our gym was in Venice Beach, which is like the heart of, and which is beautiful. It's an amazing place. And it was so good to us. I met my wife there. I had a successful business there. I had my kids there. It was beautiful. But we didn't want to raise our daughters there. And so we left.
And with that, and just like, we'll figure it out. Let's buy this RV.
Yeah, it would. That's
You
more,
left,
that's
and
more
then that
my
appeared.
that's more my personality than it is hers. But we kind of just decided that we were just doing things together.
Yeah.
And so we got the RV and we left and we lived in that thing for a year, and then that's when kind of the health thing started to show up. But for us, my home was with her, and I didn't care about the rest of it, so I wasn't worried because I knew that if I had all I wanted with her.
Was your family worried?
Probably.
Too little,
but they learned about
we're getting in the RV. But what really, you lived a very full life early on. Like most people are too afraid. They want to be in the routine and what normal
You're supposed to,
right?
What you're supposed to do.
Exactly. So that's a gift in itself that you got to have these really life expanding experiences.
They were very rich experiences. I mean, we've lived in an RV twice, so 2 different times. We lived in an RV with 2 kids and 2 dogs once. I managed a ranch. We had a coffee trailer. We had a herd of alpacas. We've had lots and lots of experiences that were amazing, which is so cool. And we look back, and my mom and I were talking one time. She's like, "You got to like chronicle all the things you've done in these years because
it's a lot.
It's crazy. Like we didn't just hold still, and we had an interesting moment, like a Jesus moment when it's in the book when we were driving in an RV. I don't remember the town. I couldn't tell you, but when you're in an RV and you stop, you have to park in the back of the parking lot. Like you see them like at Walmart and stuff, and walk like 100 yards to get to the store. So it's the Raff and I and the girls, and we're walking, and the girls are little. They're 2 and
I remember this.
They're very small, and we're walking and we're tired, and I don't even know where we were. And this lady's like, "Hey, wait up. And she comes running over. Like, what? Like, we have our kids.
Yeah.
Like, almost like, is the thing on fire? Like, I don't know. And she goes, "I just want to tell you Jesus is with you." And we were like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
Like, okay. But that was a real foreshadowing for our journey because there were so many moments where we had jumped.
Yeah.
Like we had no means of getting done what was going to happen.
Right.
And the only way it would come through is God. And logic doesn't make sense. The money doesn't make sense. You couldn't talk yourself into it, and God showed up over and over again.
Yeah. And we're going to get more into the God moment.
Yeah.
Let's kind of dive into 2020 when Rafi finds, a growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how that all played out.
Yeah. So she had like cysts. So like she had like a cyst in her armpit or something that was kind of annoying, and it just kind of stayed there for too long. So I was like, okay. And then she got one on her vulva, and she hadn't told me about it. It was just kind of there. And then eventually she was like, "Hey, I think I need to get this thing checked out." And so, okay, let's go. And so we go to the doctor on like the end of the week.
Where are you living at this time?
We were in a town called Lewisburg, Kansas. It's outside of Kansas City.
In Kansas. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm managing a ranch. She's homeschooling the girls, doing all of the things that you do with children in the house, which is, the list is too long.
Homeschooling is a whole nother level.
And she's a teacher by trade, so she's very good at that. But it was still it's just overwhelming. Like you just have too much to do.
Yeah.
And so we go to the doctor. Doctor goes, "Hey, you need to have this taken out."
Like immediate.
Like today.
Yesterday. Yeah.
And like, okay, so when can you take it out? So surgery was then like the next Tuesday or something.
And they hadn't prepared you for what that surgery would actually
other than this needs to come off you right now. No.
Right.
And so like, okay, well, that's terrifying, but also it's painful. I kind of figured it had to go away type of thing. So, okay, fine. So we go to the doctor, and when your person goes into surgery, it's terrifying. First of all, if you haven't been through that. So she goes in, I'm in the waiting room just for like hours, just sitting there. Like, this is the mother of my children. This is like, she's the heart of our family. I need her to be okay type of deal. Right. So then they message me, and they say, okay, she's good. She's out of surgery. She's okay. She's in recovery. Sweet. And then the doctor wants to see you in this room. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go in this room. And have you ever been in that scenario? I don't know if you have. But
no, all of our husbands died of sudden death.
Oh, I was in the little room.
Oh, well, that's true. Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's there's like this
newsroom.
Yeah, like a huge waiting room. You have no idea what's coming, by the way. And there's like a couch, and then like a table and like a box of Kleenex and then a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor comes in and she was like, hey, it went well. Everything went well. So Raffi was either going to have a vulvectomy, which is a removal of a piece of the vulva, or a radical vulvectomy.
Okay.
That's all we knew. And so she goes, we did the radical vulvectomy. And I was like, okay. So that's like, first of all, there's not a lot of tissue there to start.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I can't even wrap my head around what radical I would think, it's either, wow.
Yeah. So that is presented. And then the doctor goes, and it was a cancerous mass.
Mm.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Cause before that wasn't even.
No, I mean,
yeah.
it's a thought, I guess. It could be possible, right? It's a growth, but we hadn't really like gone there, and you're trying to also not to freak yourself out before surgery. Like, it doesn't help you to like get all worked up about things.
About something you don't know.
We didn't, facts, right? So then it's that. And I was like, okay. And so she says, well, she's going to be in recovery. You can go in and see her and however long. And I was like, okay, so when are you going to tell her? And she's like, I'm not going to. It's like, you are. I was like,
which I read that and it made me so mad because isn't part of their job to give the information? But I guess it was outpatient.
I mean, logistically, like I was very upset about that.
Right. That's
that's
big
very
burden.
like, that's hard to tell someone. And
and also, I mean, you would think she would have a lot of questions and the doctor is the one that can answer those questions.
I said that I was like, what am I, like, I was pre-med in college. I was like, I'm not ready to answer these questions, and so whatever, it happened how it happened. So I was upset, obviously. And then, but also from the doctor's point of view, she wasn't going to hang around for 5 hours until Raffi was able to like speak.
Coherent enough. Right.
Because I mean, it was.
Shouldn't the doctor come back when the patient is awake and check her?
In hindsight, my thought was like, okay, if it would be like, okay, she did fine. We were able to do what we needed to do. I'm going to call you guys in 2 days. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Or come back to the office in 2 days. Let's all chat.
So like,
that
my question is, what does it mean? What did you call it? Radical. Like, well, I mean, when she woke up and you're telling her that,
exactly. So
what does that mean?
Right. So the information was, it's just that thing of, this was done. And then, so I don't know what the right answer is. I know it's a burden to carry, that moment. And I remember, so she wakes up, and if you've ever been around someone waking up from surgery, it takes them forever to get back to where, like, you can have a lucid conversation. Like, it takes forever. So end up getting her in the car. We had to stop at the doctor before we went home. We lived an hour from the hospital. The whole time she was asleep. So she'd wake up and be like, how did it go? How did it go? But she's asleep. It's like she's
out of it.
She's out of it, right?
Yeah.
Totally not with it. And then her whole family is at our house waiting for us. So we get home.
And they didn't know anything yet.
No one did, except me. So we get home. I talk about this in the book.
Yeah.
And I put her in her bed, and I didn't tell anybody. I just held on to
Which makes sense because
why would you tell someone else?
Yeah.
Get them all worked up,
Right.
And then about 8:30 that night, it was probably 5 hours or so. She was when she woke up, and she asked, and I knew that was the time to tell her. And I just sat on the bed and it was horrible. I mean, to have to tell her that it was cancerous.
And then that's all you can say. Like, but this is what we're going to do. This is going to be the plan. You have to wait another 2 days to, I guess, then does the doctor
But there's nothing,
tell you a plan?
But there's nothing to tell. Like, the only thing there was to tell was like, hey, you need to recover from the surgery, which is a 10-week thing. Then there's literally nothing they can do. You just kind of, and effectively the mass was taken out.
Right.
Well, see, that's my question is like, was she like, well, didn't they take it out? It was cancerous, but didn't they take it out?
Yeah, but there's still there's still a fear of like, is it somewhere else, or that you don't have any information?
Yeah, basically they just left you with the information, and then it's up to you to try to find an oncologist and get more information.
Yeah, so that was really it was terrible. I mean,
and then you're kind of in limbo for 10 weeks.
Yeah, and that was, so we were at that point, we were on the ranch, and it was just, she was recovering from that, and then that was when, during that 10-week period, is when it started to show back up in her lymph node on her hip.
No.
And so it was like, hey, I have this lymph node, you know, and it was like, it was this big thing of like, is this now our life? And it was.
The girls are very young, so it's not like you're having to discuss this. They don't know life without mom dealing with cancer.
They really don't, because our youngest was, I think, almost 3 when she got diagnosed. So you think back, people don't remember anything, you know, at that point. And our oldest was like 5. So they've really only known. I mean, there were days that weren't the worst days when she was sick, but she was always, you know, for the 5 years, she was always ill.
Yeah.
But not like the vibrant, and that's what I try so hard to do it in everything that I put out there, is show her when she's healthy and happy and vibrant, because there's so many memories that I have in my mind of her ill, and those aren't the ones that you want to hold on to. Like, that's not what you,
Right.
you don't want to, you know, when someone's deteriorating, it's not what you.
Right. You're going to try to hold on to all of the light.
And especially for the girls, like I want them to have memories of like, because their mom was badass, and like they never saw that. Like,
Yeah, she seemed like super fun and
oh my
and
God,
ready for anything, always like going with the flow with the girls. Like, I feel like she'd be the one that if they, you know, made a huge, like wanted to bake a cake or something and didn't know how, she'd be like, let's go for it. And the kitchen is a mess and she's totally fine.
I remember like our oldest, when she was really young, was like learning food, and you know, they're like, it's all over them.
Yeah.
And so Raf would give her like a bowl of like something that was sticky, like applesauce, I don't know what. And like, why don't you give her less? Like, because then she's not going to make as big of a mess.
Right.
And she's like, it doesn't matter. And I was like, I mean, it kind of matters,
Right.
But, you know, and it was always this argument. She was always like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't concerned with time. She wasn't concerned with like social media. She wasn't concerned with anything. She was inside the moment all the time.
I feel like that was like kind of given to her, knowing, like, foreshadowing what's going to happen.
Right. She was
like,
born with that gift.
Carefree.
I mean, it was a superpower. It was funny because it would, as her mate, you know, like waiting in the car for her to get ready or something. But what are you doing in the house?
Yeah.
Like, I saw you. I know you're ready. And she's like, oh, I got to put this away. I got to do this. I got to like, and it would drive me nuts. But now our youngest daughter is that way. And it's funny because now it makes me remember her mom. So it's,
Sure.
it's now I just wait and I laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I can wait.
Well, that's the gift. I mean, it's heartbreaking to lose your partner and know that the kids have lost this amazing person. But at the same time, the kids, at least for a lot of us, keep us sane and continuing on. If there weren't the kids, I think a lot of people in grief would just say, fuck it.
I don't know that I would make it if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
I would probably be sunburned in a ditch.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any tequila left in Austin.
Right.
You know, I don't.
I've been there.
Because it's so paralyzing, and the kids force you to do things. Like, I remember right after she passed, once everyone leaves, and she passed right before Christmas. So, a lot of families in town, and she was right after she passed, that was supposed to come and see her for Christmas, which was a whole heartbreak, you know. And then we left town to see my family in Kansas City, for the holiday. But then we got back in January. The girls had to start school, and they'd never gone to 5-day-week school.
Right.
Oh.
So that
They've
was
been homeschooled.
a huge, and I'm not the one she was the one to make that transition, not me. I mean, I couldn't even talk to the teachers.
That was already planned. I guess.
No.
She was still going to homeschool them from Austin.
Yeah.
By the time y'all moved to Austin.
We had decided we were going to put them in school.
Yeah. It just made more sense.
She wasn't able.
She wasn't able to.
I mean, she was on her belly in bed for 2 years.
Yeah. So I want to talk about all the God moments, but I also want to paint the picture a little bit for people what your day-to-day life was when things weren't going well. The fact that she had these open tumors that had to be taken care of, you know, 7-8 times a day. Like, this isn't just somebody laying in a bed, not feeling great and on chemotherapy. Yeah.
The way that I talk about it, I try as much as I can not to, like, what do you want to say? Like color her in a bad way. Like, because she's a female and she's my wife and she's, and this is in like a bad spot. But, she had like bandages that were like 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And it took 5 or 6. Like, think about that. Like, to cover the wounds. And so you got this woman, like my wife, that is laying on her belly, can barely walk. Like when we walked, it was like she would hold on to my elbow and I would hold on to her elbows, and she would just shuffle her feet, and she couldn't stand up hardly. I mean, she was so weak.
The tumors were all around her vulva and
like I think the easiest way to say it is like if you were sitting on a horse and you're sitting on a saddle, like it's everywhere that's touching the saddle.
Right. Which, how do you so
well, you can't sit. You can barely walk because when you walk, your legs do this. That can't happen. You can't land. She couldn't land her side. She couldn't land her back. She could only land her belly and not even be comfortable that way. And this was for years. No, I'm not talking.
And then having to get up. It's not like she's laying in bed. She has to get up and go and change the.
Well, every time you have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
How many times you got to pee a day?
Right.
I don't know. And like it's every time it's the changing. So it's everything comes off, everything goes back on. And then it's you go to the bathroom. So you're talking like it could be 15 minutes or it could be an hour. And that's in that time. So if it's 15 minutes, let's say times 6, like you're at an hour and a half of time of just doing that a day. If it's longer, which many days it was much longer, it could be, there were times we're in the bathroom for hours and you like think you have no strength.
No.
You have no, and that was just the biggest logistical challenge, but also just so heartbreaking to just walk that path with someone.
Yeah.
Watch your loved one. Chronic pain just in general is a heartbreaking thing to watch someone deal with.
Yeah.
And then it was on such a deeper level. It's not just the pain. It's you're not able to move. You're not able to do anything by yourself because you don't have
she wasn't able. You think about these things like she wasn't able to hold her kids. I wasn't able to hug her.
Right.
Positionally, it just can't happen, right? It's like, and there's so many things that you realize are so heartbreaking that I didn't even realize in the moment because you're so focused on like the right now. Right. You're like, okay, there's blood. We have to take care of this blood.
Right.
There's, and there's just so many things that I really worked very hard in the book to not make it like gory.
Right. But you also want to.
But there was so much that she went through.
Yeah.
That was wild. At least talk about it in a way that wasn't, damaging to her name or something.
Right. Number one, I don't think you did anything damaging.
Good.
I think you have shared her in such a bright light. And, some of the words, I was going to read some of the stuff that she wrote, because when you really, it's bad enough just going, oh, she had stage 4 cancer. Like that makes people have compassion and go, oh, that must have been terrible. But when you go into the details and you see, no, it's not just she's laying in a bed with cancer and can't eat. It's like, it is a constant pain and source of, stress for the whole family. She can't be touched, can't walk. I love the story in the book where you design a bed in the back of the car.
Yeah.
You had to get creative for her, and you did. Well, you know what? I have so many things I want to read of hers, but this is a good time to share what she writes about you, which I think is just so amazing. So when you buy this book, and we're going to tell you where you can get it, but the way that it's laid out is you've got Rafi's words, you've got Danny's words, and then you've got retrospective, like you're going back and kind of rethinking what happened and giving us some context. And
Yeah, so there was Raffi's words was how I built the book.
Mhm.
So it was just her experience, her in the moment experience, I guess you'd say, of this 5 years. And then there was a bunch of holes, right? Because it was like very focused on, after this surgery or in this period. And so then I took my in the moment words and paired them with hers. And you have a little bit more of a story, but it's still like a patchwork quilt that's missing a bunch of pieces.
Right.
So I went back as a narrator and I kind of stitched them together
Good job.
in this time. And then with that, like the Jesus moments come in, and those are in my voice, but they're a huge part of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a gift because you get to hear Rafi's voice throughout the book. And when you really sit and understand what she was going through at the time, her words are even more profound because, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure you would say this, I'm sure there were many moments where you're not thinking bright side, where you're not grateful, where you're just fucking mad or scared,
The whole time, and I try to make that clear because it's easy to look back at something and like treat it like it was like you were the best
The
version of
blessing.
yourself.
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time. And
yeah.
it's like that was not the case. Like,
Right.
the things we've learned in this book were because we failed and because we struggled and because like it was not because we were like, oh yeah, I know the answer. Like, I know we stumbled through the dark for 5 years.
Right. But when you read her words, she is very prolific. She is very upbeat. She's actually trying to serve others.
She is.
The
It was
whole time
unbelievable.
she's sharing her story. But when I came to this part about what she wrote about you, I thought, oh well, I'm definitely gonna have to talk about this. But these are Rafi's words about Danny, and she says, "To the man who has held me in ways I never knew I needed, to the man, I'm gonna cry." To the man who has listened in ways that has created a home for my feelings when they can feel so big that I will explode. To the man who stands in integrity at all times and does not falter, yet still leaves room for growth craves growth. You, the sun to my temporary tornado. To have your person see you in this light and totally get what you're doing for her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like, oh, wow, she sees you in the midst of her deepest pain, in the midst of everything that she's going through. It would be very easy to just go self-centered.
Yeah, she was something. She was always concerned with everyone around her. I mean, even when she was in her last probably week of life, it was, and in her last week of life, she spent at least 3 days not non-responsive. And we were getting these Amazon packages at the house, and she was just ordering stuff on Amazon, whatever, order whatever you want. But we got this thing, and it was this, she ordered some essential oils. She loved essential oils, and it was like this spray bottle. And then in this case came this like ceramic dealio. And I was like, babe, did you get like a diffuser or something? And she was like, no, it's an inhaler. It's a salt inhaler for you because I have asthma my whole life. And I was like, why are you buying me an inhaler? I'm like literally like
Yeah.
you're come to think of it, we're a week away from it's all over.
Right.
And she's buying me an inhaler off of Amazon. And so she was like, you need to use it. And I'm like, okay, I'll use it, whatever.
Did it help?
Yes.
Are you still using it?
Yes. But the funnier thing is, so humor was a huge thing for us. Like, and it saved us, and it saves me today. But for our whole entire relationship, and when she went through this period at the end where she was non-responsive. I talk a lot about how the things that you have in your life are not going to end well. It's not going to end how you want it. It's just going to end, and so you're better off to invest in your moments, right? So while this was going on, she was basically, there was no talking back. We were talking to her and, all those things. And so she was, I was just kind of not final conversations, but those types of conversations. And I was like, don't worry, I'll even use that fucking inhaler. and I saw, she laughed. Like I saw her, like she wasn't even looking at anything, but I saw her like make a laughing edge. And I was like, even in like, there was maybe of her, let's say 10% ability to to be engaged in a conversation. All of it came forward, and I saw her laugh, and I was like, that was amazing.
That is such a special moment. And the fact that you were aware and you saw it, you know?
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's dive into the God moments, because I think that's a lot about what your book is trying to relay to people, right?
Yeah. It was, and I say this and it sounds silly to even say, but it wasn't until she died that the resurrection took on so much value.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds silly to say, because it's like, well, obviously, but
it's your own personal moment in it. Like
until you lose what you really love and what then things change. And then but throughout our story, there were so many moments where it was laughable. So there was one that I always tell. So we had this blood test we were looking for.
This is crazy.
Kind of references. You've read the book.
Yeah.
Read the book.
Yes, I didn't completely finish it. I'll
It's okay.
be honest.
Totally forgive.
I'm a terrible reader.
Well,
I was like, but I mean,
totally forget.
No, I like, yeah. So there may be parts that I'm like,
it's all right.
Missed. But the one thing I had bookmarked is that she already read.
That's a good one.
Were you going to read it? We can do it over and you can read it since I've got it.
No, it's okay.
I cried it.
No, I like that you cried.
So there was this blood test we were looking for, and we were trying to find, I think it was circulating tumor cells or something like that. And she couldn't find the test. And we're in Kansas City at this time. And if there's anyone that can find something, it's her. Like, she'll research and she'll find it. Couldn't find it. So she just kind of given up. And then we were at this point where, like, hey, like, we have to get money because cancer just drains all your money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you have, it all goes away.
Yeah.
And so I was putting up a GoFundMe, and if you've never put up a GoFundMe, it's really a swallow of your ego to really ask for help in like a very
her friend,
they did multiple.
We did multiple, yeah. So we had that original.
That was the first one.
This was either the second or the third. I can't remember. There might have been 4, but asking again is like, it's so hard. It's like swallow your pride. But like, what are we going to do? We didn't know what to do, right? So I put up another GoFundMe. A mentor of mine shares the GoFundMe. He's been a mentor of mine for 20 some years. There's a man that sits across me just like this at a men's Bible study I go to every Tuesday, or I did when I was in Kansas City. He sends me a text and he's like, hey man, I work at a doctor's office, and it's this long message. And he starts listing off all the things they do at his doctor's office. In that list is the blood test.
That's crazy.
I didn't write about the blood test in the GoFundMe. He has no idea about the blood test. He just happens to respond to like the call for help with this message that contains the blood test. And I was like, babe, check this out. And I showed her, and she's like, no way. Like,
it's just crazy.
Because no one knows about it, right? Except her and I. And so I say, okay, cool. So I text the guy, and he's like, all right, so we go in the next day. We get the blood test. Well, the blood test has to get sent to Greece to get the result, right? So then he goes, hey man, he's like it's billing or whatever. He's like, okay, so the blood test is $8,000.
$8,000.
And I was like, okay. So, well, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Like we're $700-900 short. Like we cannot pay for it. There's no way. We couldn't even sell our cars.
Did you say that to him, or were you just like, okay?
No.
Right.
But he knows now.
Sure.
And it wasn't like he was trying to like get one over.
No.
Like, that's just what they pay for this thing.
You aware, yeah.
And this is just cancer care in America. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so he goes, hey, we can do like a friends and family discount or something, and so it'll be $6,300. And I was like, that's amazing. We don't have it. We've got like our next month's rent, and that's all. We have no money. We don't know how we're making it. And mind you, we've already he's done the work. We owe him the money. And we're not thinking about it.
Right. You did the blood test, and now the money is owed.
We did the blood test. We're at home the next day, and so like we owe the money.
Right. Okay.
Right. And we do not have it. I don't have credit cards. Like we cannot pay for it. So we're sitting there, and when he says $6,300, I don't know how much time took place, but it wasn't very much. Rafi's phone dings, and she goes, and it was one of her best friends. She goes, hey, our church has been talking about your family for a while, and we want to give you last month's tithe or this month's tithe? And she's like, I think it's like $6,300.
I know.
Maybe.
There are
Like-
several of those stories where the number matches up completely. And I'm like, you could, if someone was listening, they may be like, oh, okay, that woman was crazy that came up in the Walmart parking lot. And,
Yeah.
like, it meant nothing. But when you need $6,300 and then you get a phone call that you're getting $6,300,
Yeah, and
you
so
cannot say that was
the guy that had the test was in my Bible study. Her best friend, this is her church's tithe. Come to find out, the pastor of that church spoke at Raffi's Celebration of Life, and we were talking about this story, and we didn't find this out obviously till way afterwards. But he said, in that moment in our congregation, we had decided to be radically generous. Like, if for this example, be like, okay, well, we got like $7,500 to give. Let's give $6,300 to one family, like type.
Yeah.
We were going to be like overly generous because that's just what you do.
Right.
And he goes, your family was the first family to do that with.
Wow.
And I was
Isn't
like,
that incredible?
and it's like, okay, yeah, there's coincidence, but on the back of the other experiences we've had in our life, it was like, there's no way that wasn't God.
No, and I actually would disagree. There are no coincidences.
I agree.
Everything is lined up for your greater good. It happened again with $1,000.
I mean, it happened a lot more.
I love the number ones because it's just like, you can't dispute that.
Yeah.
You can't dispute that that's not God working in your
Well, yeah. So there was a test in Dallas. It's called the Pronuvo scan. And it's like we were trying to get a visual on what was going on in her body without having dyes and all the stuff. So the Pronuvo scan's in Dallas. We're still in Kansas City. It was $1,000, and Raf's like, I want to get this. And there was kind of like a time crunch of sorts that didn't end up panning out in the end, but it was at the time. And I was like, all right, well, if we're going to do this thing, we then don't have rent. Like, we have rent
right
this moment. So like, we're not.
That money is earmarked for rent.
Where are you living at this?
In Kansas City.
You're still in Kansas City.
Yeah. So we can pay our rent for right now, but that's all. And then if we do this scan, which is a little bit less than rent, but still, well, we're literally giving away rent 3 days before we owe rent, which is like, you're kind of being silly, but whatever, you know? So I remember sitting in the room, we prayed about it, and it's like, all right, so let's do it.
Yeah. You're leaping and then that will appear.
Yeah. So we book it and we're like freaking out. And then I go and like, I'm like trying to busy myself with something because I'm freaking out. And I pull up my email on my phone, and GoFundMe sends me an email and says, hey, so-and-so contributed $1,000 to your GoFundMe. But the emails come the day after. So it was the day before.
Yeah. So the day.
So I'm sitting there sweating this purchase, and God was already like, man, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. It's already there. I didn't know. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
So what was your, like before all this happened, like your back, like growing up, were you
religious?
I read that, you were Christian and.
Yeah, I grew up Lutheran.
Okay.
It was kind of, I was doing all the things.
So you always had faith.
I had religion.
You had
what
you
went to
weren't
church.
radically faithful at this.
No,
this.
I went to church. I, was confirmed. I was baptized.
You just went through the steps.
I did the things, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this whole thing has nothing to do with going to church every Sunday. It has nothing to do with like getting a gold star. It is literally your relationship with him. It's like, he's your buddy. Talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship with Jesus is the pursuit. And it was in this, it was the unlayering of our life. It was you lost this job. You lost this job. You lost all your money. You lost all of these things.
Yeah.
And there's still hope. And he kept showing up again and again and again. I mean, I got fired from the ranch. You lose your job and your house in one day. Wife has stage 4 cancer. She's recovering from surgery. Kids are young, And so that happens. I think it was the next day, someone gave us a fifth wheel camper that we were going to go talk about purchasing anyway. There's like, you can just have it. And then someone gives us a fifth wheel camper. And then another friend of ours who happens to be a pastor was like, hey, you can come live at our house. We have 5 acres and someone has an RV. They just left our property and there's an RV spot up. And I was like, what? Like, let's bring me, my wife, my 2 kids, and our 2 dogs, and let's live in a 5th-wheel camper at your house. They have 2 little kids.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's unbelievable.
What would you say? So so many questions. So the title of the book, Thank You, Cancer.
Remember the comma.
I did. I
It's a big
felt
deal.
like I commented. I felt like I commented. Let me do that. Thank you, Cancer. Anyway, what are you thanking Cancer for?
We saw the greatest outpouring of love and just grace that we've ever seen. And I can't tell you that without this, we would have had as rich of an experience. People were so ready to help and to give and to show up, and so many beautiful things. You know, in one of her, during her treatment, she spent 9 weeks in Tulsa, and we were living in Kansas City. And I'm telling you, if she would have went to Tulsa and not seen her kids for 9 weeks, that may have taken her out. Like, she wasn't about that. So when she was in Tulsa, I would drive home drive and pick her up. It was 3.5 hours. Pick her up in Tulsa, drive her back home on Friday, and then Sunday do the same. And so during that time, people stayed with her. So like her brother came and stayed with her, her sister came and stayed with her, her mom. And so it was her stepmom. So people were coming to, and one of her friends to stay for a week with her. It's like, how often as an adult do you spend a week with your sister, your brother, you don't. Life is too crazy. Like, we live in America, everybody moves away. Like, you don't spend time. And so that was a really rich experience. And it also brought, closing of gaps. So like, if like you have a relationship with someone, there's distance, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'll lay down my sword.
None of that matters.
It doesn't matter. Right. And so for us, life became very about the moment, about right now. And there was nothing else because we didn't have the capacity to deal with it. And life became very rich. Now there was tons of suffering and tons of pain, which I hate. But the moments and the relationships and the beauty in that is, I think people like to talk about like the beautiful things of life and not talk about the painful things, but you don't get life unless you get all of it. If you're numb to the things, you're not going to experience it. And it's, so there's a lot to it. And the title I won't tell you why the title's there, now that you've read the book, but it has a very good reason that it's there. And I realize it's polarizing, but it's supposed to be.
Well, how do you reconcile? Because some listeners are going to be thinking, okay, you say God showed up for you, but she died. So how do you reconcile those two things?
Without being angry.
Yeah. So and someone asked me that. They asked me, are you angry with God because your wife died? I said, I'm not, because of the times that he showed up for us. Like, none of this. So in 2020, she could have died very easily. I thought she was dying in 2020. We got 5 years with her. Our kids got 5 years with their mother. I got 5 years with my wife. All of that is a sign from him.
Right.
I didn't earn that money. I was there, but I didn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so, and when it happened, when she passed, I had no anger towards him. I was not angry. But it was because of all of the times. And that's why I think it's so important for the book to exist, because I've talked to so many people that are like, I don't want to hear anything about God right now. So I lost my person. And I was like,
I was like that. I mean, mine was sudden death. And I was at God for a long time.
I mean, I get it. I totally get it. And I've sat with it and questioned myself. And like,
but in your situation, though, what you're saying, like, he kept showing.
I'm just like, here's like the stack of evidence that I have that he shows up is so great. I'm like, how can I be mad?
Yeah.
I think, and I'm just trying to find it in the book real quick. I thought I had written it out. Rafi talks about mindset.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're talking about a little bit in as far as perception goes. If you think you took her away from me instead of thank you for giving her to me. Like, you know, we tend to think about everything that we've lost. Well, what if that was the plan was you get to be with this person for however long, and that's the gift.
Well, that's what I tell people too. It's like, she was the greatest gift I've ever received. Like, and I could have just as easily not met her
Right.
in Los Angeles. I could have not met her. And I could have not.
And you know, have your 2 girls.
It's that, like, that the gift of her is that you can't put a value on it. And it's like, I'm upset because I only got 12 years of the best love of my life.
Right.
Like,
not to mention,
it's like, if I gave you $100, would you yell at me because it's not $200?
right. Exactly.
Like, thanks for the $100.
That's a great way of.
I mean, not that someone is money, but
Where's my
it's a very
$100?
clear example, right?
I mean, it's so refreshing. And the fact that you wrote this book. So, I mean, like
it hasn't been a year yet. He's coming up on a year in December.
December.
That's amazing.
Well,
what you did with it.
Yeah, we know the writings were there, but and some might say it's given you purpose after your wife was your purpose for so long.
Yeah.
And then when she dies, a lot of people, the caretakers, feel even more lost because that was their day to day.
Yeah, it's interesting because I really struggle with that. Struggle with that. It was what do I do now? Because all I ever wanted is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this huge open space in my life now because caretaking in the last, 4 or 5 months was 24 hours a day. So without all of the things to do, like, well, now what do I do?
Right.
Obviously the kids are there and I'm there, but it logistically, it was all this space. And so for me, it was like, how do I move forward? Like, I don't know how to do it because I felt so stuck. And then once I remember there's this quote, Andrew Garfield, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that it's I always forget the way he words it, but it's not unspent. He says it is
it's grief is
unexpressed.
Love. Yeah.
It's all the unexpressed love you have for the one you lost. And I was like, it's a resource. It's not a burden. And so I've always written. That's been my thing for years. And I was like, I'm just going to start writing about her. And so I did for a day. And I was like, I kind of feel a little better when I wrote. And so I just kept writing. And then amongst the writing, this is when the book came about. And at that point, that was all I was doing. I would get up in the morning, the girls would go to school, and I would write. And then 4 months later, there's the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's me being true to the, like, leading with my heart, which is something she loved about me. And so it connects me to her. And I was like, all right, cool. I can do that. And I just keep doing that.
It seems like Rafi was very spiritual, like loved nature, loved water, had a very just spiritual view of life.
Absolutely.
And so I was so glad that you touched on some of the signs that you get from her. And then I was especially excited because you mentioned the book Signs, which did you read Signs?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, it's a great book.
You can tell I'm a big reader.
I know.
I listen.
That's good. Yeah.
You should listen to it.
That's all.
I know.
Audio.
I know.
It's a great book about signs and how the spirit world and how our loved ones, can communicate with us, and just in general, how life, God, works with you. But a lot of Christian faith-based people are afraid of those types of things. And so I was glad that you addressed it.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because so she didn't come from like a Christian background,
right?
Which is fine. But that was something that I, in the beginning, was like, well, am I okay with that? And I was like, yeah, I love her. I'm good. We'll figure it. God can figure it out. He obviously figured it out. But there are a lot of things that happened in like the conversation with the guy in Australia. Like that was,
yeah.
And then not to move off this topic.
No.
It was that thing of like, it's with the book Signs, right? It was, I got it from a good friend. Well, not a good friend. She's a girl I went to high school with, which is hilarious, that lost her husband. Mm-hmm. And she said, so she lost her husband while she was nursing her 6th child. Mm. I can't even imagine. So I knew in talking with her that she knew what I was going through. And she's like, can I send you a book? Of course you can send me a book. That'd be great. and she sent me Signs. And I was reading Signs, and Signs is written by a psychic medium. Laura Lynn Jackson's her name. But in the book, she describes her reverence for God and how she views it as a skill set that is given from God. And I was like, all right, cool. I can jive with this. And then it was in that it was like, ask her to communicate with you. Like, okay, cool. So I did. And literally the next day, I got a few messages, but the next day, a girl messaged me and goes, hey, I want to introduce you to this guy who lost his wife, wrote a book and started a publishing company after, and she didn't know that I was writing a book, that I had started writing this book a few days before. She didn't know that I called another friend of ours asking publishing questions. She had no idea.
Yeah.
And this is a close friend of Raf's. And then I was mind blown because I had just the night before in my mind, not to anyone, asked Rafi to communicate with me. And then I was typing her back, like my mind was blown. I saw the 3 things on Instagram appear. And the one thing that how I would decided that I would know that it was Rafi is if there was an elephant involved, because that was Rafi's favorite animal. And I was like, that's the way that I'll know.
Yeah. Bring me an elephant, Rafi.
Yeah.
So this conversation happens from a friend literally the day after in the morning. And then I see those 3 dots appear, and she says, hey, I forgot to tell you, when we found out that Rachel died, who's the publisher's wife, it was in 2020, I believe before Raf got diagnosed. I was with Rafi at the Kansas City Zoo at the elephant exhibit. And I was like,
and you're like, oh, you're good, Rafi.
Wow.
come on.
You're
So
good.
there's an elephant on the back of the book.
Well, that's what I was like.
And that's the reason for the
Wait,
elephant
I
on the
saw
back
an
of the book. And that's the publisher, Blue Hat Publishing, and Brandon is the guy. But yeah, so that was amazing.
Can we talk? I got super excited because I love all of the woo-woo stuff. And when you did the energy healer guy, and you don't have to go into all of it, but just a little bit, because that's another area where people might be a little bit nervous. And, especially, I mean, I don't know how much you're going to go into it, but like some of the stuff he was saying, I'd be scared to death. I'd be like, never mind.
It was a wild experience, and I'll leave it for the book for someone to read it. But the friends that recommended this guy to us are very good friends of ours, lost their son, and in a terrible thing. And but he was ill when Rafi was ill, so kind of like moving parallel to each other. And so they knew what we were going through, and they were like, hey, you should talk to this guy. I was like, okay, cool. So our thing, Rafi and I's thing, and we talked about this, is like, listen, our litmus test is Jesus. So like, if we're going into a situation, it's like, listen, our truth is him. So if this goes awry, it's like, this is how we measure things, right? And so we go into this call with this guy, and it was out of bounds as far as like my experience goes, or her experience goes.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. And but it was in that experience that we got a wild confirmation that Jesus was a part of that experience. And so for me, and I'll leave it for the book, and I want to tell you a little story, but my perspective on things was one of like, is it possible that I don't understand everything? 100% yes. 100% yes. Is it possible that in my small human mind, I don't understand God? 100% yes. Okay. Then stop making judgment calls on your experiences. Look for God.
I love that.
And so it, because growing up in the rigid world of religion, let's call it, it's like, it's not open to, there's no way we know all things about God. There's just no way. And so who are we to pass judgment on an experience? It's like, use Jesus as your litmus test for things, but you can't just say something's not him, like, because here's the deal. He's going to send you a boat.
Yeah. I use that analogy all the time.
Like, you're not going to know what the boat looks like.
Right.
A lot of times it doesn't look like what you want.
Right.
But then you find out it is the boat.
Right. Yeah. Because you're waiting for something specific.
Because he does. And I will tell you, every time that he showed up in our story, every single time, if you put like our experience like in a frame, every time he showed up, it was outside the frame. I couldn't see it every single time.
Yeah.
And it's happened, I don't know how many times, but a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times. And so when you're going through something and you're looking for, a boat, just have your eyes open.
Yeah, have your heart and
And your
eyes
heart, yeah,
open.
yeah.
And your mind, all of it open.
But
Everything.
that story, I'll tell you, that story is mind blowing.
That yeah, you have to read it. It's towards the end of the book, so don't give up like Holly.
For like
I'm
4
teasing.
days or something.
I know, I'm teasing. I'm
Yeah,
teasing.
it's a wild story.
Talk to us about now because you're still in your first year.
Yeah.
You've gone through all the firsts, I guess, except for Thanksgiving. This will be your first Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think we've gone through basically all the firsts.
Yeah. How are the kids? Like, give us a rundown.
Yeah, the listeners really want to know about
The
how the
kids.
kids are doing.
Yeah. First of all, kids are wildly resilient, and they end up saving me many days.
Yeah.
There have been so many times where I was so worried about them. Come to find out, they were fine. I was more worried about myself. They are much more at play with the important things
Yeah.
than we are as adults. When we've always talked, we very much believed when Raph was alive that we were going to go through all of this together.
Mm-hmm.
So the girls have seen everything. They were with us the whole time. Rafi passed in our house. We never hid anything from the girls. Now, they didn't like see wound care in blood and like that stuff.
Right.
They didn't see any of that, which for 5 years, not seeing any of that, that is
That's an
Herculean
incredible
effort
Yeah.
that she did more than a marvelous job of doing. But they've seen everything. And who am I to shield them from their experience with their mother was kind of my perspective on the thing. And people were upset about that, but I could care less. What I found is that the emotional bandwidth of these kids is wild. Like the stuff that they're okay to talk about. Like we've had conversations where they're not afraid of dying.
Right.
Hey,
Well, what
10-year-old.
I can't remember which one said, "I'm not scared of dying. I get to be with mom."
Yeah, and we've all three of us have had that realization separately and spoken about it multiple times. I feel the same way. My wife went through that process probably 3 times, like coming to terms with their own mortality, and they're just not afraid of it, and it's amazing because it's such a beautiful thing to once you talk about it, it's not scary anymore.
Right.
And that was interesting because we were so afraid that we got forced into talking about it. Like we're not just like, oh yeah, we're so good for us. Like we were forced into it. But I can tell you, once we did talk about it, it offers you a freedom that I never saw until, we talked about it. And then it's like, okay.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
with kids, they just came here. So it's like they're so much closer to the spiritual world than we
Yeah.
are as adults. And they haven't been, you know, they haven't been, what's the word I'm looking for? Corroded. I don't know. They're still very pure. So
Yeah.
they didn't even have, because you guys talked about it and kept them in the loop, they didn't develop the fear.
Mm.
I know there's one story in the book where she was afraid to go see her mom, and that I think is normal stuff. But like
Yeah, I mean,
on a spiritual level, they probably hear from their mom way more than you do.
For sure. Yeah,
And recognize it.
it was around Thanksgiving, which was, the last few weeks of Raph's life. And she, was obviously she didn't look like herself, and our youngest was afraid to go talk to her because she thought, she's like, well, she looks like she might die. And I said, well, that could happen. And it was really hard because I couldn't coax her out of the room to go talk to her mother. And Raph picked up on what was happening. And so there's the heartbreak of watching your wife experience her child not wanting to see her, which is terrible. And I could not convince my daughter to come out, and I wasn't going to force her, so just hanging in the middle of this moment. And God bless, one of our closest family friends, who was a girl's babysitter for years and years, went in and was able to get her out. And then she held Raph's hand, and then she got through it. But it was the hardest thing to watch not to watch Rafi receive that her daughter couldn't see her. It was like, God, it's hard. And then that all passed, and our daughter got over that, which was beautiful. But then when Rafi, when I thought that she was going to pass, and it was like, I don't remember, maybe the day of or a couple days before, I was like, hey, I think it's mom was going to go be with Jesus. And I was like, I can say, if you want to go talk to her, this is your time. And I was like, she can hear you. She is the same person that she always was. She doesn't look like that, but she is. And because I wanted them to have the opportunity and
Yeah,
not
to say a proper goodbye kind
right.
of.
And they didn't resist at all. They went right in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, there's
Kissing her and holding her
the
hand.
same thing.
Yeah.
Talking to her, saying I love you, all the things. And then after that, then when she did pass, I pulled them in the room again and I said, hey, I said, no one should have to tell you this ever.
It's the worst.
No one should have to tell your kid this, but you know, mama went to live with Jesus. And they go, I know, Papa. And they're like, it's not your fault. And I was like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
That's like consoling me over my wife's death. And they were holding me in that moment. I was like, listen, you can go in there or you don't have to or whatever. And they went right in.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are, like, I would shield them from something else. Like, it's such a silly thing, you know? And
For trying to protect them sometimes actually makes it worse, I think, because
yeah, because I didn't know what was going. I didn't know what was going
and
to
you're
happen.
trying not to fuck them up, but at the same time, like the fact that you guys were so open about it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
There wasn't anything.
Sorry.
I know I don't have
It's all right.
Kleenex. I should learn by now. But they didn't have. You didn't create fear by keeping secrets.
No.
You know, and
It was
that's
the
such
complete
a
opposite.
gift. Yeah. So how are they? They're 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Is that right? And they are at this new school. They've almost gone a year without their mom. You know, overall happy.
Yeah, they're
Happy.
very happy kids. They're like a Venn diagram of their mother.
Yeah.
Like 20% of them is the same, and then 80% of them is different, and they
Yeah.
have completely different qualities of her,
Mhm.
and they do stuff, and it's like I said, like the time thing, like it reminds me of Raf, which is as the grief, the weight of the grief dissipates, I can see her in them.
Mm.
I couldn't see her in them when it was really heavy. But they're doing good. The hardest part for me is knowing that the hardest part for them is going to be their life as she's not there for the big moments. And that's like, that kills me.
But I think the way you talk about signs and that love doesn't die and,
Yeah.
you know, and teaching them how to see her in all the moments because she's not missing anything.
Yeah.
We miss watching them
For sure.
see the stuff, or I miss having my husband next to me when my kid graduates.
Yeah.
But I truly believe he was there. It's just not the same. So the gift that you're going to give your kids is teaching them how to see her in all those moments. And you're already doing that.
Yeah. We put up a,
Yeah.
wall.
Talk about the wall. Yeah.
So this is funny because this is one of the things that I was like, okay, so because she passed in our house. So it's,
Did y'all make that decision that
It was hospice. She went on.
it was hospice. Yeah.
she wanted to die at home?
Yeah. It wasn't, she would not have wanted to be in the hospital.
Mm-mm.
And that was, but it was hard because it was hard and easy, but we had to get her to the hospital to get treatments, which was very hard. That's why I built the bed in the car, because no one could transport her. I was like, I need to have my wife transported on
Yeah,
her
you
belly.
couldn't carry her. She couldn't walk.
Couldn't sit in a wheelchair.
She couldn't sit in a wheelchair.
And I was like, I need to have her transported from North Austin to downtown Austin to go to the hospital. And they said, we can't do it. We can't do it on her belly. And I was like, the hell do you mean? Like, I'm just supposed to take a
The
note.
ambulance said they couldn't take.
No one could transport her. Well, you can call an ambulance.
Right.
It's like
But then
$10,000.
Yeah, that and
Good luck
we're
to you.
going to run out of time, but I mean, just we could talk about the cost of cancer, not just emotionally and mentally, but the literal fight.
But that's the thing. It's like you literally, you're just lighting money on fire.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, fine. So we have a Honda Element, and there's a picture in the book. I literally built a bed on, it's like a drawer, and it comes out of the car. I built it in the car.
Wow.
And so we could take her to the hospital because there's no one could do it. And I was like, I'm not going to not take her.
Right.
For literally this was a month before she passed. I'm not going to not take her.
Right.
Like, pull me over. Go ahead. Like, I'll get her to the hospital.
Yeah.
So I took her there, and literally the thing comes out of the car, and she rolled off onto the gurney got her to the hospital, got the treatment, got back on. And I was like, we're going to try. Like, we're not going to not.
Yeah, you never, yeah.
Because they were just like, we don't have an answer for you. And I was like, I'm just supposed to let you not have an answer? I'm just supposed to be like, okay, we'll just sit here and not get her treatment.
Crazy.
It was unbelievable.
So frustrating.
And so I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just do it. And so I built it. But whatever. But yeah, it's
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's
I
like,
built it. Whatever. That's what you do. You come up with, this is what's so frustrating.
make a way.
You didn't feel as support. I mean, you felt so supported with your friends and your family, but the medical community, and like, we won't even go into the TSA experience that you had, but there were so many moments where like in the medical field, why are these tests so $8,000? Really? I don't see how any test could warrant an $8,000 price tag. I don't understand.
Well, here's another Jesus moment for you. This is an incredible one. So we're in Scottsdale. This is the last place we ever went for treatment, really. We had the treatment in Austin, but not like we did in Scottsdale.
Mm-hmm.
We go out there to meet. We need something to be done. Like, tumor burden is tremendous. Like, something has to be done. You can see her life signs going down day by day and the tumor load going up. I mean, it's that
scary.
obvious. And so we fly out. Mind you, she can't sit.
Right. And so you're flying.
We fly.
Ugh,
Imagine being on a plane.
I cannot.
You know what happens? Your feet go on the seat in front of you and you rock down and sit on your back. Flight attendants don't like it. TSA is terrible.
Yeah.
She flew. So we did that. That was like the most stressful thing ever. We get there. We're sitting down in Scottsdale at this place, like, yes, we can help you. Great. And they're like, here's what's going to cost.
The cost, yeah.
And more or less, if you added up all the things, it was like 12 weeks or 14 weeks of treatment was like $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, excuse me?
It's so
like,
disheartening because.
But it's done in a way that's like, this is possible.
Right. We can help you.
And I'm being nice. And God bless them. They're being nice about it. It's very, very nice and all.
Sure.
And so then they're like, okay, if you want to do this, we need you to take a blood test today. It's $2,000. Another moment where we're like, well, we definitely have $200,000. We barely have $2,000 and we have to get home and pay our rent.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do the blood test.
That's what's crazy to me. You know, a lot of people would have just been like, okay, well, we can't do it. We're just going to go home. But that's leaping.
So did the blood test, went home, put up another GoFundMe.
Yeah.
10 days later, we're driving to Scottsdale with almost all that money in the bank.
Incredible.
Tell me it's not God. It wasn't my money.
Yeah. But like you said.
It was angels here.
Right.
People that we know that or shared with or whatever, that were able to put it together and were able to get us that time to fight for her.
Right.
Like,
but
that's
you
a
had
God
to take
thing.
the step of asking for help. And that's something that we encourage all of our listeners to do. And you as well, you know, you're starting this new part of your grief journey, and there's gonna be more moments where you're gonna need help, and you got to swallow that pride and ask for help, because nobody can help if they don't know that you need it. A lot of people are gonna assume, oh, he's great now. They've got this house in Austin. You know, he lives by the family. He wrote a book. He's gonna be great. That's not reality.
No, it's not.
There's so many things that I would love to talk to you about, you know, and I, again, just want to encourage everybody to, where do they get this book, Danny? How do they get this book?
If
on Amazon, can't you?
Yes.
Not that we want to.
If you're, well, it's fine. But if you're in the U.S., it has to come from me.
Yeah.
So if you're in the U.S., there's a link, and I'll give it to you guys for the podcast. It's from Blue Hat Publishing, is who published it.
Okay.
But if you're in the U.S. also, I will personalize your book.
Yes.
I will write in it. I will send you. Yeah.
Personalize.
Yeah. I will send you. And the cool thing about the personalization is, if you didn't notice,
You signed her name too.
I got a stamp made of Raffi's signature.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's Raffi's signature, which is pretty amazing.
Oh.
This is mine, but that's hers. And for people that knew her, that's a big deal, because they would know it. People that didn't know her.
Well, look, we have our husband's handwriting as
There you go.
shoes.
Amazing.
And I have little glasses with my husband's.
There you go. Yeah.
signature. Like, we've got all their writing, everything.
So I got off one of the girls' birth certificates, and I was like,
Awesome.
I can't write this book and publish this book and not have her signature in the book.
Right.
That's very silly.
No,
So
I think that's great.
So, and if you're like looking at the two books, if you're looking at the Amazon book and you're looking at that book, that book is better quality.
Yeah, it
The
is.
cover is beautiful.
Yeah,
The pages are like, they did an amazing job with it. The pink is perfect. The pink was a big deal. That was a color that she wore all the time.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, but if you're outside, if you're like, if you're in the UK or wherever, if you're overseas, Australia, UK, wherever you're at, you can get it on Amazon.
You also have an Instagram. Do you have other social media, or is it all Instagram?
Mainly on Instagram. I have a Facebook that just limps along.
Yeah.
Well, it's just kind of
Instagram
there. Yeah.
handle.
Well, I have two.
Okay.
There's one, it's momentumwithdanny. And the reason that it is that is because in these times where you feel stuck and you don't know what to do, and I know this from personal experience, if you can just create momentum in your life,
Yeah,
a lot of times it's physical, then everything starts to change. And that's why that's there. But I talk a lot about our journey there, and like speaking and coaching stuff is on there. I also have a personal Instagram, but all that is just videos of Raf, and then I write poetry on there.
Okay, great. So we'll put both of those links in the show note for everyone, and also the link on how to get the book. Do go through the link so that, you get the better quality, you get the signature, and we help Danny out and, keep promoting Rafi. And you're going to be blown away by all of her life lessons in there, and then all the Jesus moments. It's a really inspiring book, and we just are so grateful that you reached out and that we got to meet you, and we're going to be following you. We're going to be watching those little girls.
They're crazy. It's wild. So since the book, it's interesting. So since the book, people have like reached out and like wanted to like help with the girls, and like it's so cool. Like
you're like, I'm not going to send my girls to a stranger.
No, but it's funny because it's like
you're attached.
Like a mom would read the book and be like, can I like do something for the girls? I'm like, sure. But for me, it's like after like reading signs and stuff, it's like, that's like Raf taking care of her girls.
Of course.
Have you ever need anyone to take them shopping?
I won't tell them that.
I have to take girls shopping. I can't remember. Did we actually talk about the mama wall, or did we?
We did not. Sorry.
Let's share that story. I don't know. Yeah, that happens.
Brought it up.
But yeah. So after she passed, I was really struggling with the emptiness in the house, which is, if you've lost someone, like they're in everything in your house, like everything. And so, I was trying to figure out a way to have a commemoration or memorial, something for her. So there's a collage on our wall that they're like, I don't know, like 28-inch by maybe 36-inch frames. And there's 5 of them. And there's like over 600 pictures in there. So what I did was I took double stick tape and like cut her out of it and double stick tape it and stick it, and then do it again and again and again. There's like over 600 of them on the wall. So you've got this huge wall.
We have a picture?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's in the book. And it says Mama in 12-inch black letters above it. So we have vaulted ceilings in that room. And it's just literally like the whole wall. When you walk in from the kitchen, it's like, it's right there.
It's covering the whole wall. Some may think that this is over the top, but I don't feel like it's over the top. It's like it's perfect.
Well, it's because when your timeline with someone ends, she's not a part of our family.
No, and it's not done in a way that's like, I don't know. The way you did it was perfect. It's this beautiful art piece.
Yeah, I mean,
and y'all can all sit,
And that's what it came from, because one of the girls was like, Papa, will you tell me a funny memory about Mama? And this was like weeks after she passed, and I was like, I don't.
You can't think of anything.
I couldn't think of anything. I felt so zapped.
Yeah.
That's when it kind of came into mind, and then I saw that deal, and I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, because I have thousands and thousands of photos. I was just that guy the whole time. And I just like, all right, cool. And they came in.
I love that.
I mean,
yeah, I think it's perfect. Well, I want to end with one more Rafi quote, where she says, cheers to living from a place of peace while acknowledging that this life is bananas.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.